one guy. His name was Seth Tanner.
Okay.
And he was an explorer. He explored this one cave in the Grand Canyon. And he claims what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
Oh, what did it say?
Now, the theory is that the Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, the gold city, is never found. Now, the theory is that it's literally in the Grand Canyon, deep in these caves. And the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price. Like, gold would be useless if they find that much gold.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Duality9xers around the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Guys, we've got a fantastic episode for you guys today, but as you're aware, it's our job, obviously, to separate fact from fiction. Now, real or fake, well, that's a decision you're going to need to make. So we've got an exciting video to share with you guys. We're going to be talking about the secrets of the Grand Canyon and its link to ancient Egypt. So this is something that's been on my mind. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. There's a lot of chatter about this. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, on various social media, and I can't wait to get into it because I want to know what you guys think. I want to hear your guys' opinion because at the end of the day, that's what counts, guys. So if you guys are new to the space, please smash the like and subscribe because it goes a long way with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're an existing returning Duality9xer, well, I knew that already because I can tell when I see a familiar face. So, if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Permanentes sentados, por favor. Let's get it going. Without further ado, guys, let's watch some video.
In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt sought to protect the Grand Canyon from timber and mining operations. Explorer G.E. Kincaid, anticipating the closure, mounted an expedition to the area to find minerals. But what he discovered there was something completely unexpected. Approximately 40 miles upriver from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, Kincaid observed unusual sediment stains, and upon investigation found a cavern entrance with steps leading to it, suggesting a man-made structure. Inside, Kincaid found writings on the walls not in English or Native American scripts, but in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. This finding suggested a historical connection far beyond local or known civilizations.
Wow.
The cave system revealed a vast underground city, estimated to house up to 50,000 people, complete with granaries, cooking areas, and artifacts, indicating a sophisticated society with knowledge of metalwork and possibly agriculture. Among the findings were granaries with preserved seeds, tools made of copper indicating a lost art of hardening the metal, and various artifacts that pointed to a technologically advanced civilization. The complexity of the cave system with engineered passageways and rooms challenged contemporary understandings of ancient civilizations in North America. Kincaid's findings led to a Smithsonian expedition led by Professor S.A. Jordan, which further explored the cave system, uncovering a central chamber with a statue resembling Buddha, hinting at a cultural amalgamation or influence from distant lands. The artifacts and the layout of the caves suggested a deliberate, sophisticated design, contradicting the notion of an isolated or primitive local civilization. Despite significant discoveries, mainstream researchers and the Smithsonian have labeled the account as a hoax and dismissing the claims of an advanced civilization predating Native Americans in the Grand Canyon and the possibility of ancient
Wow. Wow. All right, guys. This is just kind of like a prelude to what we're about to see. So again, there's a lot of stuff that's out there about, this link between ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon. Some of it it's just stuff that I can't really fathom. I can't really put into proper, I can't get how that link can actually happen. But there's a lot of people talking about it, and apparently there was some studies and some research that was also conducted, and a lot of that research just went cold. Like it just went like it was quiet. Nobody's talking about it, and a lot of those files have been kind of locked up. So, really curious as to what exactly is going on there. So this video, kind of further. Well, it's going to explain a little bit more further about, you know, some of the stuff that we're talking about, and it's and you're going to it's also going to feature elements from the Joe Rogan show as well. Really fascinating stuff, guys. Check it out.
Joe Rogan Experience, one of the most popular podcasts ever, is hosted by the renowned commentator and former television presenter Joe Rogan. Over the years, the show has become a platform for diverse discussions, spanning politics, medicine, pop culture, and current events. Joe Rogan fearlessly engages in thought-provoking dialogues with his guests, even if they involve strong debates. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that the show now brings us news of a remarkable scientific discovery emerging from the depths of the Grand Canyon. Imagine standing at the edge of a massive layer of rock, staring into the depths of an ancient marvel that stretches as far as the eye can see. Spanning approximately 277 miles, 446 kilometers in length, up to 18 miles, 29 kilometers in width, and reaching depths of over a mile, 1.6 kilometers, the Grand Canyon is a true testament to the grandeur and diversity of our planet. Carved by the mighty Colorado River over a period of millions of years, the canyon offers a mesmerizing display of multicolored rock layers, deep ravines, and breathtaking vistas that never fail to leave visitors spellbound. As you stand on the rim of this magnificent chasm, your eyes are immediately drawn to the striking rock formations that tell the story of Earth's geological history. The exposed layers of sedimentary rock, each with its distinct color and texture, reveal millions of years of geological activity. From the vibrant reds of the Supai Group to the pale yellows of the Coconino Sandstone, the Grand Canyon is a living testament to the forces that have shaped our planet. While the Grand Canyon's geological splendor is enough to leave any visitor in awe, it is also a source of scientific discoveries that continue to unravel the mysteries of our planet's past. Over the years, researchers and explorers have delved into the depths of the canyon, unearthing a treasure trove of ancient fossils, rock formations, and geological phenomena. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years is the identification of a new species of dinosaur. In 2009, paleontologists uncovered the remains of a previously unknown dinosaur species, later named Mojoceratops parafonia. This horned dinosaur, believed to have roamed the region some 75 million years ago, provides valuable insights into the diverse array of creatures that once inhabited this majestic landscape. But it's not just dinosaurs that have left their mark on the Grand Canyon. The canyon's rock layers also reveal the presence of ancient marine organisms that lived in the region when it was covered by an ancient sea. Fossilized shells, coral reefs, and even the remnants of marine reptiles have all been found within the layers of rock, offering a glimpse into a time long past. Get ready for the big reveal in just a moment, as Joe Rogan and his guest expose what just emerged at the Grand Canyon that has terrified scientists. It turns out that Egyptians once roamed the lands of Ohio, and this surprising truth was unveiled in an interview with the insightful Hotep Jesus, an African-American media personality. This eye-opening discussion shattered the notion that Europeans were the sole ancient explorers.
Imagine the interaction between these two powerful civilizations and the knowledge, the transfer of knowledge. Like, wow. I mean, this is
How did
just
ancient
insane,
Egyptians
guys.
make their way to the Grand Canyon? And what does President
Right,
Teddy
how did
Roosevelt
they?
have to do with it? As archaeologists embarked on their excavation of the Grand Canyon, a fascinating discovery awaited them. Amidst the rugged North American landscape, they stumbled upon evidence pointing to the presence of Egyptian tribes. The juxtaposition of ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon in North America left them pondering how these artifacts, which hinted at an ancient Egyptian connection, found their way
Holy
into
smokes.
a mysterious cave nestled deep within the second largest canyon in the world.
Wow.
As they carefully examined the well-preserved pottery pieces, adorned with intricate patterns and symbols, the archaeologists realized that their understanding of the Grand Canyon would need to be rewritten. The origin of these pottery pieces was undeniable, as their designs were exactly like those from ancient Egypt. Filled with excitement, the archaeologists selected some pottery fragments for further study, eager to unravel the mysteries concealed within the chamber. It didn't take long for their curiosity to be rewarded. Among the chamber's walls, adorned with centuries-old hieroglyphs, lay a tapestry of symbols, astonishingly preserved over time. The site left the archaeologists with three burning questions. Who had carved these hieroglyphs? What was their purpose? Grand Canyon into a melting pot of civilizations. Long before the Grand Canyon caught the attention of Joe Rogan, it was hailed as one of the world's great natural wonders by former U.S. President Teddy Roosevelt. A passionate outdoorsman and renowned conservationist, Roosevelt first laid eyes on the Grand Canyon in 1903. Just 5 years later, he declared it a national monument, increasing the popularity of Arizona. Roosevelt's commitment to conservation ensured that the Grand Canyon would be cherished as a national treasure, leading to the establishment of the Grand Canyon National Park. Today, it stands as the second most visited national park in the United States, with approximately 5.9
amazing.
million visitors annually, second only to the Great Smoky Mountains of North Carolina. While the Grand Canyon's
Wow.
breathtaking vistas have attracted millions of visitors, its hidden depths hold even more intrigue. With an estimated 1,000 caves lurking within, only a fraction, 355, have been officially recorded, leaving countless mysteries yet to be unveiled. What wonders lie concealed
Wow.
within these unexplored caverns? Could there be further connections between the canyon and ancient Egypt waiting to be discovered? These questions beckon explorers to venture forth, their imaginations stirred by the possibilities that lie in wait. For now, only one cave, the Cave of the Domes, is open to the public. Situated on the precipice of Horseshoe Mesa, approximately 3.5 miles below the south rim of the Grand Canyon, this cave offers tourists a safe and enthralling sightseeing experience. Adventurers can hike down into the cave, exploring its secrets before returning to the surface, all within the span of a single day. Long before Teddy Roosevelt and the influx of tourists, civilizations thrived within the very structure of the Grand Canyon. In addition to its tourist appeal and rich fossil record, the Grand Canyon is also a living laboratory for studying the forces of erosion and the ever-changing nature of our planet. The powerful Colorado River, with its relentless flow, continues to shape and reshape the canyon, carving out new channels and exposing hidden geological treasures. Geologists and hydrologists flock to the canyon to study the intricate interplay between water, rock, and time, furthering our understanding of Earth's dynamic processes. Beyond its scientific significance, the Grand Canyon also holds immense cultural and spiritual value. For centuries, the canyon has been a sacred place for Native American tribes, who consider it a spiritual center and a source of ancestral heritage. The canyon's walls are adorned with ancient rock art and cliff dwellings, serving as a testament to the enduring connection between humanity and the land. Why were ancient Egyptians drawn to the Grand Canyon in the first place? What remarkable civilization did they meet? The Grand Canyon area boasts a rich history, with the first known inhabitants being the ancestral Pueblo civilization, belonging to the Native American people. Archaeological findings indicate that this civilization emerged around 1200 BCE. Interestingly, scientists have found compelling evidence suggesting that the ancestral Puebloans are the ancestors of Europeans to revisit the canyon. Since then, the park has documented over 2,700 archaeological resources, representing only about 5% of the park area. The exploration of the Grand Canyon has taken an exciting turn with a recent discovery shared on the Joe Rogan Experience show. Hotep Jesus, a guest on the podcast, drew attention to the findings of the Smithsonian Institute. According to the Institute's publication in 2009, Egyptian artifacts were discovered in the canyon, marking a significant breakthrough. This discovery challenges the prevailing notion of isolated early civilizations and opens up new possibilities for exploration. The fact that ancient Egyptians and Native Americans of Arizona may have interacted during those times is astounding, considering the vast distance of 12,000 kilometers between them. The merging of ancient Egyptian culture with the Americas remains a marvel, captivating the scientific community to this day. This revelation has reignited interest in exploring the canyon, drawing archaeologists to Arizona in search of artifacts that could reshape our understanding of ancient history. However, it is worth noting that the link between ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon has been shrouded in secrecy, with limited access to historic caves and restricted airspace around the canyon. Authorities have gone to great lengths to keep this discovery under wraps for nearly a century. Despite these efforts, further excavations have revealed a series of interconnected tombs buried deep within the rocks of the canyon. These tombs, adorned with intricate drawings and patterns, housed the remains of Egyptian nobles and their precious belongings, reminiscent of the pyramids of Egypt. Archaeologists and forensic experts have meticulously studied the tomb's contents, unearthing new insights into ancient Egyptian civilization. Artifacts such as amulets, jewelry, and fragments of papyrus provide a glimpse into the daily life, spiritual beliefs, and views on the afterlife of the ancient Egyptians. Through advanced technology, dedicated specialists have carefully restored and deciphered the scrolls found in the tombs, offering a fascinating window into that era. These scrolls can be likened to time machines, transporting us to a time when Egyptian seafarers overcame dangerous obstacles to embark on a new life in the canyon. Their migration led to the integration of their customs, knowledge, and way of life into the culture of the native tribes inhabiting the Grand Canyon. This discovery raises intriguing questions about the extent to which Egyptian culture influenced Native Americans and how it continues to shape our present-day society. While scientists and archaeologists strive to unravel these mysteries, much attention has been focused on Kincaid's Cave, a remarkable location within the Grand Canyon. In 1908,
Let's see if I can find it here.
In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt wanted to declare the Grand Canyon off limits to all timber and mining operations. It would take another 11 years for Congress to designate the Grand Canyon a national park. Sensing a final opportunity for adventure, explorer G.E. Kincaid took a boat down the Colorado River and through the Grand Canyon. The canyon was rich in minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and Kincaid wanted to see what he could find before the area was closed off for good. About 40 miles upriver from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon, Kincaid saw stains in the sediment formation about 2,000 feet up. He tied off the boat and got out to investigate. Kincaid couldn't find a trail, but after a short hike, he found something interesting covered in desert brush. Steps, hundreds of them, carved in sandstone. Steps that wound their way up to a high shelf on the side of the canyon. He followed the steps until he came across a cavern entrance, an entrance that was clearly man-made. Kincaid entered the cavern and turned on his flashlight. On the walls, he saw writing, but it wasn't English or Native American writing. It was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Kincaid lifted his flashlight and saw that the tunnel ran far into the distance. He didn't realize it at the time, but this was only the beginning. When G.E. Kincaid tied off his small wooden boat to investigate the strange coloration of the rock wall, he was hoping to find clues that would lead him to a mineral deposit. He wasn't expecting to find hieroglyphics. When Kincaid noticed chisel marks in the walls, he drew his pistol, turned on another light, and slowly walked deeper into the gloom. He kept detailed notes of everything he saw.
The main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet toward the farther end. About 57 feet from the entrance, the first side passages branch off to the right and left, along which on both sides are a number of rooms about the size of ordinary living rooms of today, though some are 30 by 40 feet square. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls into the passages. The walls are about 3 feet 6 inches in thickness. The passages are chiseled or hewn as straight as could be laid out by an engineer. The ceilings of many of the rooms converge to a center. The side passages near the people's god sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of this face is oriental, and the carving in this cavern. The idol almost resembles Buddha, though the scientists are not certain as to what religious worship it represents. Taking into consideration everything found thus far, it is possible that this worship most resembles the ancient people of Tibet.
No, I didn't think we were allowed to say Oriental. Are we bringing that back?
We're not. This was written over 100 years ago. So.
Oh, right, when we had freedom of speech.
No, Oriental in this context just means Eastern.
Ah.
Because of this discovery, Kincaid's team started calling the complex the Citadel. The crypt was one of the bigger rooms discovered. Now, with enough light, Kincaid was able to fully describe what he saw.
The walls slant back at an angle of about 35 degrees. On these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hewn shelf. At the head of each is a small bench, on which is found copper cups and pieces of broken swords. Some of the mummies are covered with clay, and all are wrapped in a bark fabric. The urns are...
Guys, now they're talking about a possible link between the ancient people of Tibet now and the people of the Grand Canyon. First, we're talking about ancient Egyptian civilization, now ancient Tibetan civilization, potentially because of the discovery of this idol that resembled that of a Buddha, and holding a lotus flower, which is predominantly found in the eastern part of Tibet, in that area, in that region. I mean, it's just like, how many different cultures have potentially embarked on this journey to the Grand Canyon that we don't even know about?
Or cups on the lower tiers are crude, while as the higher shelves are reached, the urns are finer in design, showing a later stage of civilization. It is worthy of note that all the mummies examined so far have proved to be male, no children or females being buried here. This leads to the belief that this exterior section was the warriors' barracks.
Kincaid, Jordan, and the Smithsonian team explored the entire cave complex. They were overwhelmed with evidence that this was not some faraway temple occupied by a few priests. This was a huge city lived in by thousands of men, women, and children for hundreds or possibly thousands of years. The question nobody could answer was, who were they? By the end of the expedition, G.E. Kincaid and Professor Jordan's team had discovered hundreds of rooms, barracks, granaries, metalworking shops, temples, and many, many living quarters. Though most of the rooms were empty, thousands of artifacts were found. They found swords and shields made of copper, bronze, and a gray metal that scientists couldn't identify. They thought it looked like platinum. They found pottery, urns, utensils for cooking, small yellow stones called cat's eyes, and large stone tablets, all engraved with hieroglyphics.
On all the urns or walls over doorways and tablets of stone which were found by the image are the mysterious hieroglyphics, the key to which the Smithsonian Institute hopes yet to discover. The engraving on the tablets probably has something to do with the religion of the people. Similar hieroglyphics have been found in southern Arizona. Among the pictorial writings, only 2 animals are found. One is of prehistoric type.
Even with all the relics and all the writing Kincaid and Jordan found, they were still no closer to determining who built the citadel in the Grand Canyon. They thought some of the statues looked Tibetan, but they weren't quite right. They thought the writing looked Egyptian. Again, that wasn't quite right. There were experts on site, none of whom could identify the statues or translate any of the text. But there were 2 things that the researchers could agree on. One, the civilization that built the citadel was very advanced, far more advanced than the native tribes that occupied the area for a few thousand years. This now lost civilization worked bronze many years before the Bronze Age began. They understood division of labor and agriculture when every other society on Earth was presumably still hunting and gathering. These are discoveries that went against everything that was taught in mainstream archaeology and anthropology. A civilization like this shouldn't exist.
Ooh, what was the second thing?
What?
Oh, you said the eggheads agreed on 2 things. What was the second thing?
Right. They agreed that the civilization that built the citadel in the Grand Canyon didn't emerge there locally. This civilization arrived there from the other side of the world. Kincaid and Professor Jordan sent boxes of artifacts and books full of notes and drawings back to the Smithsonian. Along with their hypothesis, that an ancient civilization existed in the Grand Canyon thousands of years before Native Americans arrived in North America. These people were technologically advanced, educated, skilled, and spiritually complex. And these people originated somehow in Egypt or Asia. Kincaid wanted more resources and a larger team to help them research the Citadel and search the Grand Canyon for more evidence of this lost civilization. Their request was denied, and G.E. Kincaid and Professor S.A. Jordan were never heard from again.
Son of a
Wow.
In northern Arizona is one of the most spectacular natural wonders on Earth, the Grand Canyon. Carved over millions of years by the Colorado River, the Grand Canyon is more than just a pretty landscape and a spot for tourists to take selfies. It's a place of deep spiritual significance for the people who've lived in the area. The Hopi, Navajo, Zuni, Apache, and several other tribes have lived around the Grand Canyon for several thousand years. They still do. Hopi mythology says that from the Grand Canyon, the first people of the world entered. The story says that many thousands of years ago, a reptilian race emerged.
lizard people!
Yep.
Hey, how many times do lizard people have to come up in these stories before you believe in him?
I guess I'm gonna need a few more.
Lizard people are gonna keep popping up, you'll see.
Thousands of years ago, a reptilian race,
Lizard people.
lizard people, emerged from the Grand Canyon and changed into humans.
Lizard people are shapeshifters.
That would seem to be true. Other Pueblo cultures like the Zuni and the Acoma have similar legends that there were people there before the tribes.
Lizard people legends?
Well, some legends say reptilians were there. Other legends say a race of giants were there.
Ooh!
And there are rumors that skeletons of giants have been discovered all over the western United States, but the evidence has been suppressed.
You're suppressed by who?
The Smithsonian.
Of course.
Giants,
Something I've learned from doing this
Wow.
show is that all myths and legends do carry a little
Lizard
bit of truth.
people,
We already have evidence
reptilians,
that
wow.
people landed in North America before Columbus. The Vikings famously explored and settled parts of Newfoundland 500 years before the quote-unquote New World was quote-unquote discovered.
That's true.
And there's growing evidence that
There's
ancient
scientific
Chinese
evidence to back that
explorers
up.
landed in North and South America before the Vikings. But landing on the east or west coast of America is one thing. Getting to the Grand Canyon is a whole other thing. How could people get there?
correct.
And even if they could, how did they have the technology to excavate millions of tons of rock in order to build an entire underground city? Well, we may have known the answer to that
Right.
question for 1,000 years. Traveling from Europe and Asia to America thousands of years ago was almost impossible. Almost. Many brave people did it. But traveling to the Grand Canyon is a much more difficult task than landing on a California beach. To get to and build in the Grand Canyon requires technology. The Hopi have a very intriguing legend about the ant people. These are humanoid creatures that are smaller than humans with pale skin and large eyes like an insect.
Aliens.
According to legend, a series of cataclysms hit the earth many thousands of years ago.
Younger Dryas.
The Hopi were on the verge of being destroyed. A sky god emerged from what they called a moving star.
UFO.
The sky god brought the Hopi to the ant people, who escorted them to underground caves for protection. The sky god then got back into his moving star and flew off above the clouds. The Paiute have a legend about the Havmusus. They're usually described as being humanoid in shape with golden skin and large eyes.
Aliens.
They lived in a vast underground city and traded with faraway people. They possessed weapons that the Paiute described as silver tubes that shot lightning and can kill a man instantly.
Phases.
And the most interesting part of the Havmusuv legend? They supposedly flew silver canoes in the sky.
UFOs.
These craft made a humming sound and could maneuver like an eagle and move at great speeds. Most ancient cultures have a flood myth. They describe a global disaster that melted the ice caps and caused sea level to rise 400 feet. Entire cities were wiped out, maybe even entire continents.
Atlantis.
Most of these flood myths also talk about how, after the waters receded, a godlike people came down from the sky. These gods gave humans the gift of civilization and taught them things they had forgotten before the Great Flood. Things like writing, astronomy, and agriculture. Could the city in the Grand Canyon be evidence of this time in history? And if it is, why would anyone want to suppress it? All the information in today's episode comes from 2 front-page articles from the Phoenix Gazette published in 1909. In the years since, mainstream researchers have decided that the articles were a hoax. a fantastic story designed to sell newspapers.
19th century clickbait?
Yep.
The media hasn't changed much.
Unfortunately, that's true. But many people believe the story is real, and the Smithsonian is covering it up.
Smithsonian Public Relations, Marion speaking.
Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
I'm here. Sorry, I was on hold a long time.
How can I help you?
They transferred me to Marion.
Yes, this is Marion.
Okay, great. My name is AJ, and I'm with the Y-Files. We're a YouTube channel that covers mysteries.
Did you say you're from YouTube?
The Y-Files is a channel on YouTube, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you about an article that was in the Phoenix, Arizona Gazette in 1909, and they sent me to you. I was hoping to ask you a couple of questions about that.
Okay, let me stop you. No Egyptian artifacts of any kind have ever been found in North or South America.
Sounds like you've given that speech before.
Yes, I get this call a couple of times a year. I can tell you that the Smithsonian has never been involved in anything like this in the Grand Canyon or anywhere.
So, G.E. Kincaid?
There's no record of anyone by that name ever working for the Smithsonian. The whole thing is a hoax.
Wow. Yeah, that's the prevailing belief, but the Smithsonian has been accused of covering this up, so...
Yeah, I don't have a response to that.
You probably don't want to talk about giants or giant skeletons, huh?
And goodbye.
That's the official story. Kincaid's cave is a hoax, so no reason to try and find it. Nothing to see here. Even Kincaid himself wanted to keep people out.
First, I would impress that the cavern is nearly inaccessible. The entrance is 1,486 feet down the sheer canyon wall. It is located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. The scientists wish to work unmolested, without fear of archaeological discoveries being disturbed by curio or relic hunters. A trip there would be fruitless, and the visitor would be sent on his way.
Whether at the request of the Smithsonian or just to protect his find, it was clear that Kincaid wanted to dissuade people from finding the citadel. But even over 100 years later, that wouldn't stop people from trying. And some of those people, they say they found it. Jerry Wills and his wife Kathy have been studying the Kincaid Cave mystery for years. Their approach was find the original base camp of the explorers, which would lead them to the cave. After years of research and exploring the area where G.E. Kincaid said he found the cave, Jerry and Kathy found a location covered in artifacts from that time. And on the canyon wall just below this area, they believe is the entrance to the underground city. Exploring is difficult though. The entire area where the cave is supposed to be is designated off limits by the federal government.
I saw that coming.
About 1,000 caves have been discovered in the Grand Canyon, many of them man-made, but only about 30 have been mapped, and many of those have been sealed.
I close them off.
Oh, for your safety.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't buy the safety excuse either. There are plenty of people who'd be willing to take the risk, and they'd be willing to sign a waiver that says the government isn't responsible if something happens. In fact, people have tried this. The government still says no, it's too dangerous.
How nice of the government to look out for us.
Isn't that nice? Then why is it legal to jump out of a plane or ride a roller coaster or drive a car? Some things in life are dangerous, but they're still worth doing. Some other caves in the Grand Canyon have been blocked by steel gates. They say this is to protect the bat population.
Whoa. Did you say bats? We have to protect the bats?
That's what they say.
Well, haven't bats caused enough problems these last few years? Allegedly.
Still, people are willing to risk a fine or imprisonment to find the lost city in the Grand Canyon. But anyone who goes looking should expect a response. When Jerry and Kathy's team tried to explore the area, suddenly an unmarked plane appeared. Clearly, they were being watched. Despite this part of the Grand Canyon being a no-fly zone, and the fact that no aircraft is allowed to fly below the rim, a plane appeared. Jerry Wills is convinced this was a warning. His team was unable to continue their expedition. Exploring the cave from above is almost impossible. But what about exploring it from below, as G.E. Kincaid did? Another group of explorers tried this. As they approached the location, a black helicopter showed up. Not a tourist helicopter, not even a black civilian helicopter, an Apache combat helicopter. When this team explored the area above, looking for the ventilation shafts Kincaid wrote about, and possibly a way down, they found cement blocks in the middle of nowhere. Some of these blocks are platforms near the edge of the rim with hardware and anchors that would be used to assist mountaineers. When asked about this, the authorities say these are reinforcing structures to prevent rockfalls. Also in this forbidden zone, rock formations have unusual names. There's Isis Temple, Tower of Set, Horus, the Cheops Pyramid, and Ra. There's also the Manu Temple, the Buddha Temple, the Krishna Temple, and the Shiva Temple, and many more names that refer to ancient Egyptian and Hindu cultures, cultures that specifically have myths about a god helping civilization after the Great Flood. The official word is, the fact that these names exist within the Grand Canyon's no-go zone is a coincidence. But I don't really believe in those. Do you?
Wow, that's pretty weird.
Edmonton,
Pretty
did you know you
creepy.
can sell your house fast directly to us? Let us help you with a stress-free solution by...
David Hatcher Childress is a French author who's published 200 books. He often covers ancient mysteries. He believes the United States government is actively suppressing archaeological discoveries. He mentions that while the film Raiders of the Lost Ark is fiction, the final scene showing the warehouse is close to reality. That the Smithsonian, an independent federal agency, is hiding some of the most important discoveries made in the Americas. He says the cover-up began in 1881 with famous geologist John Wesley Powell. Powell appointed Cyrus Thomas the director of the Eastern Mound Division of the Smithsonian Institution's Bureau of Ethnology. When Thomas came to the Smithsonian, he believed there was a race of mound builders that were distinct from and arrived before the American Indians. This school of thought is called diffusionism, which says throughout history, there's been a widespread dispersion of culture and civilization, even across great distances. The Smithsonian took the opposite approach. It promoted isolationism, which says most civilizations are isolated from each other and have little contact, especially when separated by large bodies of water. It was held that the advanced and highly populated civilizations of the Ohio and Mississippi valleys were rare, and that they didn't have contact with other advanced cultures like the Aztecs, the Toltecs, or the Maya. But the Mississippi River runs from Canada all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. To say these cultures were isolated is like saying that people in the Black Sea had no contact with people in the Mediterranean. That's ridiculous. When ancient mounds of the American Midwest are examined, they show the existence of a complex culture, cities larger than those in Europe at the time. They also show burials of extremely tall people, sometimes 7 or 8 feet tall. When the Spiro mounds were excavated in the 1930s, 7 and 8 foot tall skeletons were found, at a time when the average height of a human male was about 5'6". Those skeletons have been lost. In 1892, stone coffins were discovered in Alabama by Frank Burns during a geological survey. The coffins were about 7.5 feet long, hollowed out by fire and metal chisels. The findings were sent to the Smithsonian. In 1984, this report was found by researcher Frederick J. Pohl. He asked the Smithsonian about this. They said, "We have not been able to find the specimens in our collections, though records show that they were received."
Well, how do you lose giant stone coffins?
That weighed several tons? I don't know.
And never underestimate the incompetence of the federal government.
8 years later, the Smithsonian said they found the coffins, but they were stored in a warehouse that was contaminated by asbestos, so nobody could go in there to see them. During World War II, a crew was building an airship in Alaska. They excavated a mound that had gigantic human remains, skeletons twice or 3 times the size of a normal human. This report has been confirmed by multiple sources. The Smithsonian collected the findings, and that was the last anyone heard about it. There are stories like this from Alaska all the way down to Mexico City. An amazing discovery is made, the Smithsonian steps in, the story disappears. The saying, "skeletons in your closet," means you have secrets you don't want revealed. Secrets that, if discovered, would be embarrassing and possibly dangerous. In the case of the Smithsonian, skeletons in the closet could be taken literally, but the government literally has evidence that an advanced race was in North America long before the native tribes arrived. Evidence they don't want revealed. Mainstream science says this is nonsense, but the Hopi and other Grand Canyon tribes do believe this. The Hopi say that when the first people emerged from the Grand Canyon, they sent a message to the Temple of the Sun asking for a blessing of peace. That messenger hasn't returned. But even today in Hopi villages, at sundown, tribal elders can be seen on rooftops, gazing toward the setting sun, waiting for the messenger to come home. And when he does, the ancient land will be returned to the first people. Now that's an optimistic belief. The United States spent 200 years taking land from the first people. You really think they're going to give it back?
Hey guys, that was absolutely incredible. The the links to the original videos the links to this original video and the channel will of course be in the description. Y-Files are absolutely incredible. Definitely subscribe to them. But there's one more video I want to get to, and I want to show you guys, and I'm going to get to that in just a jiffy. Okay, guys, this is the Joe Rogan episode that I was talking to you about. So he interviews Hotep Jesus. Check it out, guys, and then this will give you kind of like an overview of all the controversy and mystery surrounding this link between ancient Egyptian civilization and the Grand Canyon and the people and the indigenous tribes of the Grand Canyon, including of course other cultures as well, such as the Tibetan, potential links to the Hindu people, the Hindus, of course, from India. So it's just really mind-boggling. It's just kind of fascinating stuff. Let's check it out. Let's see what Joe Rogan and Hotep Jesus have to say.
What's up? The thing I found about the Egyptians in Ohio was actually from a paper that was written. It's postulating it. I guess they took a lot of the evidence that they had been finding and saying this shows that there might have actually been Egyptians there.
That's from 1937?
That's when the guy was, I think, born. This is 40 years ago.
Oh,
so
wow.
That amulet was brass, apparently, and it was found near Cincinnati. And where I actually think that it might have been trade routes, because there was some stones that have been found in various parts of the world that are from specifically Ohio, because it's like a rainbow shale that was used in like arrowheads and stuff a long time ago. Like that area was used to make weapons, like the first 12,000 years ago when the first people were kind of in North America. But that area in Ohio also is known as the sandstone capital of the world, and I don't know if that's related to the Egyptians, because that's what the pyramids are made out of, There's tons of sandstone that is very specific to that region.
Yeah.
So,
pyramids made out of sandstone?
I thought so. Yeah,
I've heard this.
There's 21, from 1800 to 1980, 21 times the amount of sandstone that made the Great Pyramid was shipped out of Ohio to make various buildings all over the world.
Really?
Most of them in the United States, obviously, but all over the place.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, just weird facts I found after Graham came
History
through.
of the humans.
We don't know history.
We know some. Right?
The only history that we know is the one we go discover on our own time. The one that's presented to us is not history. It's all lies.
Well, it's not all lies.
All of it.
There's some lies.
I found that too.
Lost civilization in Grand Canyon was, Egyptian?
Yeah, the Smithsonian published some stuff in 1909,
wow.
I guess, that where all this came from. There was an article that got written, and I don't know how much of it they proved or was proven, or it was just newspaper. It's like bait.
See, they keep talking about G.E. Kincaid.
Back in the day.
Look at this. Even more amazing, the artifact didn't match up to anything on the known record, rather than appearing to be of Native American origin.
The Smithsonian, it says right here, has no record of either of that scientist or the gentleman S.A. Jordan that he was with as well. How is that?
It had distinct Egyptian or Tibetan designs. Could there have been an entire civilization of Egyptians living here? If so, how did they get here? Dun, dun, dun.
It's not that hard. Hop in a boat, man. You got cats that leave Africa and try to come to Spain on these places on a chicken wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting, right? Like the population of Cuba. Cuba's so insanely diverse, and it's right there. Like, what is the history of that other than the slave routes? Like, what is the history of Cuba? Because Cuba has very distinct African people living there.
The whole Caribbean, all that whole area is has a lot of African roots to it. But it's just a place that was conquered by the Spain, by the Cortezes, those type of people.
What really disturbs me is there's no way to know exactly what happened. It's like you're piecing things together based on artifacts and historical record, things that people wrote down, and journals and logs. And
there's people that have traveled. So, again, I've studied this so long ago, but I remember reading primary source from somebody that traveled with Cristobal Colon, a.k.a. Christopher Columbus. And he was saying very specific things about his accounts when he reached these different places. And he was saying things like, we got to the land and we found Africans. And I remember him specifically saying, so no matter where we go, we find Africans. And he said it as if he was disappointed. And then they started talking about like, they started
That's
talking about their
fascinating.
culture and describing their culture.
That's really fascinating.
You just got to go look at the people that travel with Cristobal Colon, and there's some firsthand accounts there, and they're very honest about it.
Dude, I'm gonna look into that now. That's very interesting. I'm gonna ask Graham about that too, what he knows about it. He's studied, especially on his latest book, he studied a lot about the various cultures that made it to North America and South America.
Okay. Yeah. It's just very rich in history. Very, very rich in history.
All right, guys. I really wanted to share that last video clip with you because it just kind of sums things up, right? I mean, a lot of it was just kind of like a recap of some of the stuff that we've already heard, and that Y-Files was really good because they kind of went into more explicit detail pertaining to the travels and the findings from J.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan. Now, I'm just puzzled how these two individuals apparently were hired by the Smithsonian or affiliated in some way with the Smithsonian Institute, and upon finding potentially some of the things that they made claims to, end up going missing and never heard of again, to the point where they're not even acknowledged as actual people or anyone that the Smithsonian would have potentially hired on any of their projects. It kind of makes me wonder about another individual by the name of Seth Tanner. And Seth Tanner's actually mentioned in one of my earlier YouTube shorts. Actually, I'm gonna play that, and it's really interesting because Seth Tanner apparently also came across potentially a treasure trove, or found a treasure trove that could have linked to the old city, the lost city of gold, right? The lost city of gold, or the gold linked to El Dorado. And this particular individual, I think that's around the same kind of time frame as G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan. And Seth Tanner, I mean, he was once a miner, and this was all kind of happening like during the gold rush, and he found, apparently the treasure that he found was in the Superstitious Mountains. So anyways, I'll try to do a video on him a little bit later, but he also went missing and never heard of again. Apparently that's what I was told. So really fascinating stuff. I hope, again, the links to the original videos will be in the description to all of these fine YouTube content creators. Definitely check them out and give them a like, subscribe, and share their content with your friends. And if you guys like and hear what you see, then we would really appreciate if you smash the like and subscribe as well too. I hope you guys found this content to be interesting and of value, because I'd like to show more of this stuff in future videos. So I had a great time. I always have a great time and to get a chance to talk to you guys. I'd love to know a little bit more about where you guys are from in the comment section. Just tell us where you're from. We'll give you a shout out. Listen, again, thank you again for your time. I hope you guys had a fantastic day. And you know what? Before I start rambling on, I hope you guys tune in to the next one. And in the meantime, I can't even talk today. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. I want to go ahead and edit this video and just put it out there for you guys to watch. And then I want to hear the comments, and then I want to put up more content on this stuff. But listen, in the meantime and in between time and until the next time, I hope you guys have a great one. Please don't do anything crazy to yourself. And until our next adventure, guys, peace.